What's up guys, it's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. Today we're doing What If Issei Was Betrayed and Snapped Part 6. Now thank you for all the support on this series, and if you guys want to know exactly when I upload, press the little blue button right next to the subscribe button, and thank you so much for all the support once again, and without further ado, let's go ahead and roll right into it. Chapter 17, Prelude Evil Dragons. So what about that red-haired bitch? Issei asked through gritted teeth. I wanted to talk about the dragon's curse, Azazel said unfazed. I should have guessed that you would have figured it out. I have no intention of removing the curse. I warned both her and Sir Zex about the consequences, but both of them paid my warning, no mine. Now she suffers, Issei replied with a nonchalant shrug. Still, what would it take for you to remove the curse? I don't want to see any problems that could dispute the peace with the Alliance, Azazel said. The only thing I need for her to do is relieve her old hold on my parents and clear any and all memories that they had during the time they lived together, Issei answered. That's it? I mean, no large amount of money or devil secrets, asked Azazel with an incredulous look on his face. Nope. I cast the curse because of her holding my parents hostage. As soon as she does what I asked and releases them, I will remove the curse. She will make them a complete recovery, Issei said with a shrug. I see. Well, I will tell her that. Do you need anything else? Asked Azazel. I want to go see Gabriel. She was banged up pretty badly. I want to make sure she is alright. Also, you do know that Team Volley can move in with us here, Issei said. Azazel then gave a luxurious grin before saying, First LeFay and then Jean and now Gabriel. You really do have a thing for blondes, don't you? I am not denying anything. Blondes, specifically LeFay and Jean, have a very special part of my heart. Now, about Team Volley moving in here, asked Issei. Yeah, I will have them move in quickly. Now, that's all I wanted to talk to you about. Team Volley should be here in a week. They are out of the mansion. They are out on a mission, Azazel announced. Cool, I will see you then, Issei as he walked off into the castle. As he walked, he thought, things are stable for now, and I will have allies to fall back on. I think I can relax for a while. Now, what do I have to do? As he finished his thought, a picture of a certain blonde entered his mind. Grinning to himself, he entered the castle and went up to set his trap. A few minutes later, we find Jean casually walking through on the mini halls. She then casually turned before she felt someone pull her into a room. Before she could react, she found herself pushed face into a wall. Okay, so once again, in the middle of this chapter, there's another one of those, questionable scenes where they, sexually interact. So I'm going to skip this part just because, well, first off, YouTube's going to let me have it if I don't do that. So we're going to go ahead and skip on to the next morning, and this is in the middle of chapter 17. Time skip, 8 days. Issei was lazily walking into a mall and entered a food court before sitting down and waiting. He was currently awaiting the arrival of his brother in all but blood Volley. Team Volley had just moved into the Hero Faction headquarters. Much to Issei's delight, he had told both LeFay and Jean about the marks on their necks, which meant they were his mates. After hearing that, both girls sat down together and attempted to talk to get to know each other. Volley and Issei both had decided to have a field day for themselves and just decide to do things that normal brothers normally do. Volley arrived a few minutes later. Both of them ordered their lunch while they talked. Suddenly a barrier went up, sending warning bells into both of the Dragon's Emperor's head. A magic circle soon appeared, and it was a man who greatly resembled Grafia appeared. Issei recognized him and narrowed his eyes before saying, What are you doing here, Elucid? Surely you could expect to take me and Volley alone. Specifically not after what I did to that old cocksucker. You shall not speak of Rizavine-sama in that manner. And as for why I'm here, I am here to introduce you to a couple of my friends, Elusa said with a smirk as he clicked his fingers and two giant dragon gates appeared. One was emerald green and the other was a dark gray one. Both Issei and Volley immediately went on the defensive. What was coming was no small threat and needed to be dealt with promptly. From the green gate, a western dragon with emerald scales and a deranged mouth appeared and snarled at Issei, while a serpent-like dragon with many heads appeared out of the silver gate and gleefully looked at Volley. Issei and Volley, without any delay, entered their hybrid form balance breakers and stared down their opponents, knowing that this would be one of the toughest fights they would have contested in their lives. Chapter 18, The Clash of Dragons. Volley, Issei, be careful. Those are evil dragons, Grendel and Landon. They can easily take on a Dragon Kings. Proceeded with caution, Albion warned. This will be a battle tougher than any other you have fought. Grendel has the hardest scales in the world of the dragons, while Landon is the master in barrier usage, Drake warned them. Ah, I love how you placed me on such a high platform, Drake-chan. Now let's fight, Grendel said with a maniacal grin. Issei sighed before looking over to his brother and saying, it's always just too much to ask for a few days of peace. I know what you mean, so Heavenly Dragon King and Heavenly Dragon of the Night Star, asked Valiant, smirk adorning his lips. Exactly, Issei answered with a magic smirk. As they talked, Grendel got impatient and said, are they really as strong as you said? They seem much weaker than Dragon Albion, he said, looking at Elucid, who remained silent. Soon the area was hit by a large aura that was constantly growing. Looking back at the two Dragon Emperors, the evil dragon saw that they were both covered by auras. Issei was covered in a blood-red black aura with tinges of white in it. His eyes were closed and he was radiating power. Vali's aura was predominantly white with a shade of gold and black. Both of the Dragon Emperors opened their eyes as they dragons roared. Heavenly Dragon King, balance breaker, yelled Drake, and Vitra. Heavenly Dragon of the Night Star, yelled Albion and Fafnir. In bright flash, both Dragon Emperors were in their hybrid balance breakers, both armors radiating power and reflecting of a deathly gleam. The barrier that Elucid had created was shaking along, showing small fluctuations. Issei looked at him and said, if you want to fight us, strengthen your barrier, otherwise it wouldn't hold. Grendel glared at Elucid and said, what kind of weak barrier is this? They only entered the first base of their powers and your barrier starts shaking? It will break if me and Landon power up. Fix it. Elucid internally huffed before raising his arm and started strengthening the barrier, which soon stabilized. Issei looked at Vali, who said, who will you take on? Leave the multi-head lizard to me. I should be able to counter his shields, while your power will be more helpful for someone with scales as hard as his, Vali answered as Issei nodded. With Issei disappeared before reappearing in front of Grendel, he reared back his fist and hit it ahead with full strength as Drake called out, penetrate! The force of the punch caused Grendel to go flying back, not letting up. Issei jetted up and followed him. Landing in front of the dirty green dragon, he charges his hand with energy and shouts, Twin Dragon Shot! Two black orbs of energy then fly and hit down Grendel. The orbs connected, a small explosion occurs. From the smoke, a large tail arose and hit Issei, who grunted but managed to successfully blocked it. Grendel then flew out of the smoke and looked at Issei, was looking up at him. Grendel gives him a maniacal grin and says, this is fun. This is good. Keep on coming. This pain makes me feel alive. Issei's sweat dropped and thought, is this guy a masochist? Not exactly, partner. Evil dragons tend to battle maniacs and hence take pleasure in pain. AI answers. You do know that is what a masochist is, right? Vitra mockingly asks. AI is quite quiet and grumble. Well, the three snickered. Issei kept a straight face and said, sorry, but I don't swing that way, saying he rushes up to Grendel while Vitra shouts, poison! Prison of shadows. Large tendrils of shadows appear around Issei's back and catch Grendel, stopping him from moving. What the hell is this? Grendel said as he struggled to break out of the tendrils. Your doom, Issei replied as all three dragons announced their moves. Divide times 50, AI announced, but making Grendel momentarily stop as he felt his power leave him. Vitra then shouted, black flames. The tendrils all burst into black and purple flames that surrounded Grendel, but didn't seem to affect him much because of his uniquely strong scales. Drake then shouted, penetrate. Transferring the penetration power into Vitra's flames, they all started to break through, though Grendel's strong scales, and started burning him. Grendel roared in pain before he breathed a strong fireball, who he had to break his hold to attack to dodge. As he dodged, a swipe of Grendel's tail caught him and sent him flying into the floor. Groaning, he stands up and seeing grinning Grendel. That's why I'm feeling alive. Keep it coming and coming, Grendel maniacally says. Sighing, Issei stands up and brushes the dirt off his armor. He looks at Grendel with a blank look and jokingly says, you know, you are not a battle maniac. You are a super pervert who comes after every good fight. What's wrong with that? Grendel says, making Issei's sweat drop a little. Issei then shook his head and dodged several swipes and fireballs before jetting in front of Grendel and sending him hurting into the ground. Grendel turned mid-air before firing a large stream of green fire at Issei, who retaliated by firing a large stream of ice. Both streams collided mid-air and started fighting for dominance. Soon Issei's ice was being pushed back by Grendel's fire. Issei wasted no time and began boosting his powers. Boost! Boost! Issei felt his power spike massively, and his ice had completely pushed back Grendel's flames and hit him head dead on. However, after the smoke from the collision cleared, Issei saw Grendel standing there completely unfazed and his scales only slightly scratched. However, before they could continue their battle, a Lucid appeared and said, "That's enough for now. We just revived your bodies. It'll be better to modify them a lot more before coming for another fight." Saying that, he disappeared along with Grendel. Issei then started flying back to the area where Volley with his fight. 30 minutes earlier, Volley took the air and immediately created golden weapons of pure energy before. So basically, let me clarify. We are transferring to Volley's fight. Created gold weapons of pure energy before holding 2 swords while he threw the remaining at Landon. Landon created his barrier and successfully blocked Volley's attack. After he sent 4 of his attacks to attack Volley, Volley then dodged the first head before kicking the second one. He used his energy weapons to cut down 3 heads and 4. He looked and saw that the heads just grew back as if nothing happened. That's when he realized something. "It seems you are just an overgrown Hydra, aren't you? So what is your real head?" asked Volley. Of the 100 heads, one rose above all and said, "Impressive, you guessed at one of my trump cards after only looking at me one time. I can see why you were regarded as the best White Dragon Emperor in history." He then signaled 8 of his heads to breathe steams of fire while the other 8 heads went for physical attacks. Albion then called out, "Reflect." The streams of fire were pushed back towards the 8 heads while he used hand-to-hand combat and hit back 8 heads of Landon. As soon as the last head went back, Albion called out, "Divide times 80. As he said, the Landon faltered a little. The barrier around his body thinned for a few minutes. While he took advantage of this and used extra energy to create a large number of dragon shots, he glared at Landon while saying, "Dragon shot rain." A barrage of dragon shots hit the barrier before it just became 4 dragon shots to fly towards the head. 3 of them had been blocked by 3 different breathes while the last one hit original Landon head straight. Landon grunted in pain before glaring at Volley, who was impassively staring down at the multi-headed serpent. Both stared down at each other, after which Landon sent 50 of his heads flying right at Volley. Volley spread his wings at a full measure before flying away, with his heads following closely behind. Volley dodged a few heads before he created a few small dragons made of energy and had them fly and face the Landon heads. Using the distraction, he focused on the main Landon head and was 2 clones of himself using Fafnir's energy. All 3 volleys then started fearing strong demonic blast at Evil Dragon. The main Landon head created a strong barrier. The collision of the spells and barrier created a small explosion that blocked Landon's view of the fight for a small while. Volley took advantage of this and appeared behind Landon, and Albion called out, "Half Dimension." He used the move to damage all of Landon's barriers and started squeezing the area around of his head, promptly squishing them into nothingness. However, he soon had to cancel the technique as Landon had fired a strong stream of projectiles fire attacks. Volley dodged before a few heads caught up to him and fired their attacks. Grunting, Albion called out, "Deflect." Volley redirected all of his attacks towards the original Landon, who had set up his own barrier to stop his attack from affecting him. Volley grunted in disappointment. Nothing he did was working on Landon. The same, however, could be said about Landon. No attack he launched had any effect about the Lucifer clan. And whatever attack pattern he tried was promptly controlled and pushed back by Lucifer Hair. "You are a worthy fighter, Volley Lucifer. I haven't had this much fun in a long time," Landon commented as all 100 of his heads began firing fireballs at Volley. Volley dashed in the air before he spread his wing, and Albion began calling out, "Divide! Divide!" The extra energy he had gained into a colossal dragon shot that had laced with not only demonic energy but all little of demonic energy. Volley looked at Landon before shouting, "Demonic Solar Dragon Shot." He threw the giant dragon shot, which forced Landon to create the strongest barrier that he possessed. Soon, an epic clash between the dragon shot and the barrier ensued. Soon, however, it was clear that the dragon shot was stronger, and Landon's barrier was beginning to crack. In the end, the barrier crashed, and the main Landon was hit by the dragon shot. An explosion ensued as the dragon shot hit Landon, making the whole area become covered in smoke. When the smoke cleared, a mildly battered Landon was seen growling at Volley. However, before either of them could continue the fight, a Lucid appeared before summoning a portal that took Landon away. Volley then sighed as another battle was over before he landed back on the ground and dispelled his armor while he waited for Issei to arrive. Issei soon landed and dispelled his armor before saying, "What do you think we should do? I've already sent a message to Azazel. He did say that another meeting would convey in 2 days. Volley answered as Issei nodded before they disappeared to go back to their headquarters in the Fallen Angel territory. As soon as they came back, Volley left to go to his mother, while Issei learned that both Sieg and Jean were visiting the church to help with some adjustments with their weapons. Since they were allies, Michael had all ordered them for them to be helped. He sighed as he entered the headquarters where soon every member of the hero faction was bowing down respectfully, greeting him, something that he wholeheartedly returned. He then made his way to the courtyard when he found LeFay watering a few flowers. Smiling, he walked up to her and took her hand before pulling her into his chest and softly kissing her on the lips. LeFay soon melted into the kiss, and she placed both of her hands on his neck and began kissing him back. Soon they broke away, and Issei looked at her lovingly while saying, "Did I ever tell you how much I love you?" "Nope, you never did," LeFay answered with a smile of her own. "Let's just say you are the reason I am alive and still have a heart. If it weren't for you, I think I've been cold and bloody bastard with no purpose in life," Issei answered, making LeFay give out a megawatt smile as she leaned in and packed Issei on the lips. "And what is Jean to you?" asked LeFay. "She is the one who taught me to open my heart to others. While you broke my walls, she made sure they stayed broken. Both of you are immensely important to me, just like any other girl will be if she ever reaches my heart. Until then, you are both my most important people in my life," Issei said. LeFay smiled as she turned around and began watering the flowers again. This time, Issei, however, was by her side, and he has his arm wrapped around her as he placed his head on hers, and he hummed a very happy tune. A few minutes later, LeFay was beginning to tire. Issei's warmth and the tune was humming down was too much for Issei. Issei chuckled as he felt LeFay doze off. He then softly scooped her up in a princess carry before taking her to his room. He then sat down before making LeFay in between his legs, her head on his stomach. He protectively wrapped his arms around her before humming a soft tune that pulled her into even deeper sleep. She snuggled into Issei and fell deeper into her dreamland. A couple of hours, LeFay awoke and she felt herself in some place very firm but warm. Looking as she saw Issei, who had put his arms protectively around him while his face had a smile. Smiling, she went up and gave Issei a soft kiss on his lips before putting her head on his chest and once again falling into a pleasant sleep. Outside the door, both Volley and Arthur were looking on, smiles on their faces. Volley looked at Arthur and said, "You know, I thought you said you'd get anyone who tried getting close to LeFay. What changed?" You and me both know what changed. Issei literally away all of our lives and rebuild the team according to Opens. We hoped for in our deepest desires. If anyone is good enough for LeFay, it's him," Arthur answered. After that, both of them got quiet as they watched the sleeping couple before they left and went on their own merry way. That's chapter 18, Clash of the Dragons. Chapter 19, Heavenly Protection. "Are you sure going in alone is wise? It could be a trap," Grigori asked Issei for the upkeep time as Issei prepared for the visit to heaven. "It's fine, Grigori. Sieg is going with me, so it's fine. Not to mention Team Volley is coming as well. I know for the fact if it is indeed entrapped, Team Volley will assist me. They do owe me after all," Issei said, dismissing his second-in-command's worries. "Fine, but remember, my reverse sealing slip is with you. Channel magic into it, and I will be by your side," Grigori said. All right, chill out. I can handle anything that comes my way," Issei said with a $1 million grin. Grigori nodded with a sigh. Sometimes he just couldn't believe Issei. Sometimes as he's serious as a gladiator in a fight before reverting to a goofy idiot. "Alright, then if all goes to plan, I shall see you in a couple of days," Grigori said as Issei left his office. Issei then sighed before looking out the window. It was finally the day when he would visit Heaven and Gabriel. He reminded himself to thank Azazel for setting up his meeting. His mind then wandered to the recent happenings in the supernatural world. He knew that the world was walking on thin ice. One wrong move is significant loss for the other alliance, and it was over. He sighed the heavy tension of being a faction leader was beginning to get him. However, he knew that he had to be strong. The fate of nearly the whole universe was currently being questioned as of now. "You know, you sound like an old man with all that sighing you're doing," a voice said to Issei. Turning around to find a smirking Volley, he said, "I'd like to see you doing anything differently if you were sitting on a head of a faction that you were facing an army whole sole purpose is the world extinction. Not to mention being a leader is tough. There are so many factions you need to consider. With the pressure of position gets to you, you know." "No, I don't, and maybe never will, because I know I am no leader type, and probably will never be one as well, Volley said. So what are you going to do here, Volley? Asked Issei. Azazel told me to get you. We are leaving for heaven right now. Sieg and the others are already waiting for us outside, Volley said. Okay, then let's go, Issei said as he stood up and clicked his fingers. A magic circle went over him, changing his outfit. He was now wearing a full black sleeve shirt, with black combat pants and shoes, a long cape that had the shape of 3 dragons, 1 red and 1 white and 1 purple. Volley smirked when he saw the outfit and said, a change of wardrobe, huh? Fitting, isn't it? The Black Dragon Emperor displayed by black robes, Issei replied with a smirk of his own. Both Dragon Emperors then left the room and began walking towards the exit of the headquarters where the rest of the group was waiting. Once outside, Issei said, alright guys, we are here, let's go. Azazel nodded at that before handling everyone's angelic halos. Put those on your heads, you won't be allowed to enter heaven without them on your heads, Azazel said. Everyone wordlessly nodded before placing on the halos on their heads. After they channeled their magics into the halo, all of them were transported to the heaven gates. As they walked towards the 2 gates landed in front of them, one guy was around Issei's and Volley's age. He had an aloof look on his face. He had green eyes, blonde hair. This was the strongest exorcist and among the strongest angels in the heaven Dulio. The other one was a blonde woman. She had blonde hair with blue eyes. Her face was veiled behind a white cloth. She had beautiful hourglass figure. She was the strongest female exorcist while currently being the second strongest reincarnated angel, Grisiel Quarta. Welcome, Michael-sama. Has been expecting you. Please come this way, Grisiela said. Everyone worriously followed them into what was among the prettiest sights ever. Dulio then spoke and said, Azazel, Volley, you will accompany Grisela-san over there and go up to level 6 where you will meet Michael-sama. Issei, you will come with me to level 4, the Garden of Eden, where Gabriel-sama is currently resting. The rest of you will be waiting, will fellow brave knights. Everyone nodded before stepping into the lift as they followed their guides. The first stop was level 4, where Issei got off and entered the Garden of Eden while the others continued to their places. So we're with Issei, scene break, this is where these... Issei couldn't help but take in the beauty of the Garden of Eden. It was something too akin to perfection. As he walked, he saw Gabriel was softly watering one of the plants. He blushed when he saw her. In this arrangement, she looked even more beautiful than usual. He walked up to her in a soft voice and said, Hey Gabriel, how are you feeling? Ah, Hyodo, don't know, I am very well now. Thank you for rescuing me, Gabriel said sincerely. It was nothing, Gabriel. Also, call me Issei. Hyodo Dono makes me feel old, Issei said as he scratched the back of his head. Gabriel giggled cutely before saying, Alright, it's Issei-kan then. Then is it okay if I call you Gabriel-chan? Asked Issei. It was Gabriel's turn to blush as she merely shouted, Yeah. However, before they could continue, a large number of magic circles appeared in the sky in the sides. From Rizavim, a large number of evil dragons appeared. Issei, being an expert in the barriers, immediately felt one go up, felt that he couldn't call on his sacred gears anymore, along that he wasn't able to teleport out. Gritting his teeth in anger and worry, he quickly took hold of Gabriel's hand and pushed her behind his back and faced a grinning Rizavim. How the hell did you get in here, Rizavim? Issei asked. Ah, Issei-kun, what a pleasant surprise. Aren't you glad to see me? Rizavim gleefully asked. The only time I'll be happy to see you is when Volley rips your head off, Issei said as he tried to buy as much time as possible to think of a possible ways in which he could protect Gabriel. She was still weakened and would be an easy target right now. He looked over at Gabriel, who was behind him, and said, Relax, I won't let anything happen to you. He then clicked his fingers and a very strong barrier was erected around Gabriel. It was a purple in color and looked alive. He then said to her, Whatever happens outside, don't even think about coming out. It won't be long before they realize what's wrong. I will hold them off until then. No, you can't take them off on your own. Let me help. Gabriel tried to argue, but Issei simply gave her a soft chin kiss on the lips and said, Trust and wait for me, Gabriel-chan. I will come back alive. Gabriel couldn't say anything. She was blushing, and for the first time in her life, she felt something different. Yes, she was an angel of love and loved everyone, but this was akin to how a mother loves her child. No, what she was feeling right now was the first love for another person who you see as an equal. She placed her arms around on her heart and felt it frantic beat as she saw Issei, who currently surrounded by enemies. She shut her eyes as she thought, God, please help him. Please let him come back to me. Please let us be together. So we're with Issei. Scene break. Issei took of his coat before throwing it away. He then unsealed his Red Queen in Skytree before giving the evil dragons a predatory grin of his own. The grin silently unnerved Razim, who was expecting Issei to be a little scared. He didn't even have his sacred gear with him. You know, not having my gears is a handicap, but it was something that I completely prepared for. Dragon Force! Issei finished with a shout. Immediately, 6 draconic wings sprouted from his back, and as a multicolored scales appeared around his body. Along with the change came a very drastic increase in Issei's power level. Suddenly, without a warning, he charged at the evil dragons in blinding speeds, and was cutting them down at a ferocious pace. He then flew a little higher into the air after the dragons following him. He then channeled his magic into both Red Queen and Skydrum before saying, "Shadow Tendrils." From Skydrum, nearly hundreds of tendrils emerged before they latched onto attacking the evil dragons. As soon as the tendrils had completed latching onto the last evil dragon, he raised Red Queen and said, "Gluttonous flames of purgatory!" Dark red flames emerged from the tip of the Red Queen before traveling up the shadow entrails. The flames then caught up of all the evil dragons that shadows had latched onto. The dragons roared in pain as the flames ate them away, but weren't able to escape as the flames ate away at them all. Soon, nothing but ashes of the whole army of evil dragons were left. Issei was left panting. Using the original moves of his dragons was really taxing, as he felt that he had already exhausted near 35% of his reserves. He then suddenly heard Gabriel scream and quickly turned to see her. His eyes widened when he saw the barrier was gone and Rizavim had released a barrage of attacks on her. Flying at full speeds, he appeared right in front of Gabriel, with his back turned, and pulled her into his chest, protectively wrapped his wing around her, so as to protect her from the attacks. He gritted his teeth in pain and tensed his body as the attacks at his back. Gabriel, for her part, was blushing up a storm as she found herself in love with the Indra's chest. However, she was steadily growing worried as she could feel the slight terms of pain in the chest as she knew that he was taking extensive damage. Rizavim watched this scene with glee as he laughed loudly and said, "Issei-kun, is this a game? You protect Gabriel-chan while I try to kill her? How does it sound? Does it sound fun? Tell me." "Shut the fuck up, you sick bastard. There's no way in hell I will let you get your filthy hands on Gabriel," Issei shouted. Yes, keep on playing. That's what makes it fun. Let's start round 2. However, I should tell you this round will be rough and will last much longer, resuming gleefully said as he started firing demonic attacks as Issei's bare back. Issei's grit his teeth in pain before he screamed in agony after the teeth blast hit his back. Yes, scream for me. This is a beautiful noise. I can't wait to get my hands on Gabriel-chan. First, I will take her period and violate her, and then with her mind is completely broken, I will take all of her power and revive 666-kun to destroy the whole entire world. Ha! Issei, on the other hand, did not reply. He knew he needed to just get one good shot to take away victory here, but how? He knew he couldn't let Gabriel go, as that sick bastard would target her the moment he let. So he decided to wait it out until the hope and help would arrive. While he did that, he began to channel his magic into his wings and legs, as he needed to be faster than normal when he attacked and get required damage done. However, he was slowly losing consciousness to the pain, and now was additionally fighting to stay awake from all the damage being inflicted on him. Suddenly, the barrier that was keeping things at bay broke, and open a black western dragon appeared before it attacked Rizavim, making him jump and dodge it. He looked at the dragon and angrily said, "Crumcrunch, how dare you defy me? Defy you? Don't make me laugh. I only joined your escapade because you promised me good fights. But since you are hellbent on destroying the world, I won't have anyone to face. So I will be siding with the Alliance to stop you. Issei Hyodo, I shall protect the angel in your arms. Go finish what you started." Crumcrunch sighed as he looked at Issei. Issei nodded before he let Gabriel go and staggered towards Rizavim. "Yo guys, how much time can I be in Juggernaut Drive stage at this damage?" Issei mentally asked as he felt his gears become active again. 10 seconds, no more, no less. Any more than 10 seconds and your body will break down, Drake answered, making Issei nod. Issei then stopped before he raised his arms and chanted, I I am about to awaken the heavenly Dragon King that stole the principles of domination, supremacy, and darkness from God. I laugh at, envy and ignore the infinite. I grieve at, pursue and darken the dream that I shall become the black dragon of domination, of supremacy, and of darkness. And I shall take you into the depths of black purgatory, to the heights of the black heaven, Juggernaut Drive. In a flash of black light, Issei seen was in the magnificent form of the Metallic Dragon. Roaring the sky, he charged at a frozen Rizavim, and this time attacked with the intention of completely maiming Rizavim. Last time he attacked just to leave a message. This time it was to leave a horrifying memoir. He cut off both Rizavim's legs and one of his arms in a fast pace in 5 seconds. In the 5 seconds, he focused all of his killing intent into his eyes and fired it right into Rizavim's, giving him the strongest dragon's curse he could muster. When the time was up, armor dropped and he fell on his knees, panting. He looked over to a screaming Rizavim who had disappeared in a magic circle of his own. Coach looked at Issei and said, "We shall talk in detail later. I shall be in transit territory in Underworld. Goodbye." He finished as he disappeared in a black dragon gate. As soon as he left, Gabriel-san ran over to him and hugged him with the inner frame tightly. Issei was tired beyond measure and could only lift lightly up on his hands and hug her back. She then looked at him and saw how beaten up he was. He was bleeding from several different places along with several bruises around his body. He then tucked his stray hair behind his ear, making her blush as he said, "You aren't hurt, are you? Idiot. How could you ask that after how badly hurt you are? What if something happened to you?" Gabriel asked as tears threatened to escape her eyes. Issei wiped away her unfinished tears with his hand and said, "Nothing would have had to happen to me. I had an angel to return to after all." Gabriel blushed cutely before her face into Issei's chest to hide her embarrassment. This was the scene that one and the others walked in on. Looking at Issei's banged up state and the fact that Gabriel was in his arms, Azazel said, "What happened here?" Issei could only utter one word before his world went black: Rizavim. That is Chapter 19, Heavenly Protection. Chapter 20, Spice of Life. Beeping sounds, that was the first thing Issei's senses picked up when he regained his consciousness. He then felt heavier and warmer than usual and barely opened his eyes. He found Gabriel, Jean, and LeFay laying on his bed sleeping. He warmly smiled at the scene before laying back down and closing his eyes. As he contemplated the recent events, he decided to catch up with his partners. "Oi guys, how's it going?" "Good to see you're awake, partner," Dragon AI said, and Vitra grunted in agreement. "How long have I been out?" asked Issei. 7 days, partner," Al replied in a blank voice. "I see. Using Juggernaut Drive over an already perfused injured body must be taken a big toll on me," Issei commented. "That's saying it lightly, partner," Vitre said in a dry voice. "So tell me, what did I miss during the time I was unconscious?" asked Issei. "We'll tell you later. For now, you should go back to sleep. Your body needs it," said. Issei nodded before he tightened his hold on the girls before closing his eyes and falling asleep. A few hours later, Issei groggy woke up and heard the voice of his lovers. "When do you think he will wake up?" Livia solemnly asked. "I don't know, I just hope it's soon," said Jean, in a voice fairly above a whisper. "I asked Raphael Nisama, and he said that Issei would wake up when he wants to." "There is nothing he can do," Gabriel said as her voice cracked up. "You know, you could try asking the person in question," Issei said dryly and his voice hoarse. "Issei-kun," all 3 girls shouted before launching into Issei, whose body ached upon contact, but he held back his whine, not wanting to worry the girls, that they already were. He wrapped his arms around all of them and pulled them closer to his chest as he muttered soothing words into their ears and helping them calm down. "Hey, it's okay. I am here, aren't I?" he softly whispered. "We were so scared. You were in a coma. You were completely unresponsive," LeFay as she sobbed into his chest. "You idiot. Why'd you go that far for me?" Gabriel asked. She lightly punched his chest. "Promise us that you'll never do something that reckless again," Jean whimpered. "Hey, you know me. I am too stubborn to die. That coma was just a temporary nap," Issei warmly said before kissing LeVay on the head. He then turned to Gabriel and kissed her on the forehead in the same manner before saying, "I already told you I'd do anything in my power to keep my angel safe." Gabriel automatically blushed at the before she turned away in a pout, making Issei chuckle on her cuteness. Turning to the final group of the group, he said, "I can't promise that to you. You guys are way too important to me. If I didn't protect you to the fullest of my ability, I wouldn't have managed to live with myself," he finished before kissing Jean on the forehead. All 3 girls blushed at his words before they buried their heads into his chest to hide them, from whom merely chuckled from who Issei merely chuckled for wrapping his arms around the three of them. From afar, the scene was being watched by Volley, Azazel, and Michael. I think that is more than enough evidence for you to clear up any doubts you may have had, Volley said as he looked over Michael at the corner of his eyes. I didn't have any doubts to begin with. His actions on the 2 occasions when he protected Gabby, and were enough to convince me. Also, I can tell that his feelings are pure and genuine, along with the fact that Gabriel returns them. Since it's a mutual affair, I don't think I have any right in stopping them, though I am curious as to how he will stop Gabriel from falling since they have to do the deed, Michael, before finishing an afterthought. There's no reason to worry, Seraph. Your sister is now a dragon's mate, meaning she is already partially marked by Issei. She won't even fall if both of them have to sex. So relax, Albion said. How is that possible? Michael asked in a voice that displayed both shock and confusion. Simple, Seraph. When a male mark is formed, it gives the receiver one power. In the case of angels, it gives them an ability to have sexual intercourse without the fear of failing, Fafnir answered. Wow, I never knew that. How does that work? Michael curiously asked. Simple. The power of the mate receives code itself as the part of marks the angel impure, keeping it safe from impurities, hence allowing them to stay pure as angels while allowing them to have sexual activities, Albion chimed in. Well, I guess we should just leave them be. They have been worried about him for a long time, Michael said as Volley and Azazel nodded in agreement before the trio left. So now that I am up, let's go do something fun, Issei said as he tried to get out of the hospital bed. However, he couldn't cover much ground as he was pushed back by glaring at the 3 girls. What? Issei asked, confused at the tone. Don't make us, Mr. Gabriel said with a glare. Did you really expect that we'd let you leave as soon as you got up? You must have it screwed in the head, she said with a glare. You, mister, are going to stay here until the 3 of us deem it is okay for you to leave. Are you understood? LaFace said in a promised pain. But Issei tried to argue but stopped when the 3 girls started embidding a bit of killing intent, telling him that they weren't in any mood to take no for an answer. Sighing inwardly, he did the only thing that he could at the moment of the time. He merely nodded and said, alright, fine, I understand. The trio of girls nodded before they left to get a few things for Issei. Issei sighed as he leaned back into bed, incredibly bored. You seem to be enjoying yourself over there, Volley said, as he walked into the room, smirk adoring his lips. I am bored beyond hell. I already am back to full health. The guys did repair my body back to its full functionality. I need some action, Issei said with a groan. I can offer you an escape route, though I need a favor of you, Volley said. I'd give you a favor even without something in return, but I'll humor me, Issei said with a grin. I need to get a gift for Kuroka, but I don't know what to get her. I need you to come shopping with me, Volley said with a nervous chuckle. No problem, but get me out of here first. I think I am being held back by some sort of spell by LaFay, Issei said as he tried to stand up, only pulled back to the bed. Volley worriedly nodded before moving towards Issei and placing his hand on his shoulder before sending 3 concentrated blasts of energy to him. Issei then felt as if it was a lock lifted off of him. He then smiled before standing up and clicking his fingers. A magic circle appeared over his head, changing his clothes from his hospital ones to the casual ones. He then nodded to Volley, who created his own magic circle, as the 2 of them disappeared into it. Scene break. So what do you want to buy for it? Issei asked as the duo materialized in a scheduled area in his shopping entry. That's what I wanted to decide on. I am thinking of getting her a necklace but don't know which one to get, Volley replied. Let's go. I know just the thing for you guys, Issei said as he started leading away. Scene break, back at the hospital in heaven. Issei, we brought you some soup. LaFay stopped when she saw the room was now vacant. She looked down as her locked eyes lit. Jean and Gabriel were no different. All 3 of them were in a rather dangerous aura. After a few minutes of silence, all of them shouted, Issei, you better pray to the gods to save from us. Back with Issei. Issei sneezed violently before stumbling a bit. He then regained his step before continuing his walk. Oh, you okay there, Volley asked? Yeah. I think I must have been, I feel like someone must have been talking to me. Issei answered as he wiped his nose with his finger. That must have been your 3 girlfriends fighting about your escape after explicitly ordered you to stay put, Volley said with a grin. Issei shivered at the thought of the impending consequences of his choices before he shook his head and said, you know, if I get out of whatever the 3 of them have planned for alive, I will kill you. I look forward to it. I am sure I could still kick your ass 7 ways to Sunday, Volley replied with a smirk. I'd like to see that happen. I'm not the same old idiot that shouted Bicho and Opie at every chance I got, Issei with a smile of his own in silence between the 2 as they kept on walking towards their destination. Soon they arrived at an antique shop where the elderly man by the counter. As Issei saw, he cracked a smile and said, Issei, my boy, how have you been? I've been well, Osan. Me and my brother here would like to buy a few things for our princesses. Do you think they would have things for us? Asked Issei. I have perfect things for you. Though I have to ask, did you increase the number from back then? The old man asked Issei. Yep, 2 is now 3. Though I need to give Volley here something out of the ordinary for his girl, and the first time that he's gifting her something. Issei with a grin to the man nodded. I see. Well, laddie, you came to the right place. Hold on a second. I get just the right things for you guys, the old man said before he disappeared into the storeroom. He returned a few minutes later, after which he handed Volley a small box. Volley opened it and immediately grinned after he saw the prettiest ring he had ever seen. It was silvery in color and black engraving of promise written on it. On the top it was yellowish blue gem. How much for this, old man? Volley asked. It's free, laddie. Nothing is worth more than a maiden's happiness. Since it's your first gift for your princess, it's free, the old man said. Oh, I see. Thank you very much, but I still can't take it for free, Volley countered. If that's the case, promise me to become a permanent customer and bring another guy with you in the future, the old man said with a smile. Volley nodded in agreement before pocketing the ring. The old man then turned to Issei and handed him 3 small boxes. One of the beautiful white necklace, the second one had a pretty bracelet, and the third housed an attractive earring. Issei smiled at the sight of the 3 ornaments and imagined how beautiful they would look on the princesses. Issei then paid the documented amount for his 3 articles before both Volley and him left the building. So I guess this is it for now, Volley said as he created a magic circle and stepped into it before he disappearing. That is it. Wish me luck, Issei said as he created his own circle before disappearing into it. Issei reappeared in the hospital room and immediately felt a great feeling of foreboding hitting him. He gulped before turning around to meet the 3 blonde girls. Hi girls, I know you were extremely mad and want to pound me to the ground, Issei stated as the girls nodded before they started walking toward him with oars riding. The only thing I will say is, you can do whatever you want to me after I give you your gifts, Issei said as he walked towards the 3 girls who were looking him at curiously. Walking towards Lefei, he took out an earring before he softly turned her blonde hair to the side before latching it into her ear. After the sightly nibble on her ear, causing the girl to shudder a bit and blush made its way onto his face. He then planted a soft kiss on her lips for my own witch an earring. Lefei blushed automatically at his words before she looked away. Issei moved towards Jean as he pulled out a bracelet and took her hand before he softly stroked it a bit. Jean blushed as the tender strokes. He slipped at the bracelet onto her wrist. His hand then moved to her cheek and softly stroked it before pulling to a soft kiss. He then whispered into her ear, "The bracelet for my knight." It was now Jean's turn to shyly look away. Issei then moved towards Gabriel, who was already shyly looking away. He then moved her and started behind her. He softly put her hair to his side before softly placing the necklace on her neck. He then softly kissed her neck, making the poor angel blush and turning her into a shuddering mess. He turned her around before wrapping his arms around her before softly placing his lips on her. He then pulled the shy angel into his chest and whispered, "Will you be my angel, Gabriel?" Gabriel blushed automatically at the question with a nibbly bob at her head and down. Issei smiled softly at her before he bent down and bit on her neck, elating a moan like gasp from Seraph. When he pulled back, a draconic-looking mark was on Gabriel's neck, confining her status as one of the Issei's mates. Issei then took all 3 of his girls before pulling them into his chest and hugging them as he conveyed his feelings to them. And that's the end of chapter 20. Yes. And that is all we will be doing for today. Currently we are on chapter 21, the next step, and I haven't read it yet. I'm just on this chapter. Again, thank you for all the support that's really been going on in my channel. It's been absolutely amazing, and again, it really is a dream come true. Again, if you guys want What If Naruto Was Betrayed, it will be coming soon because I really enjoy the Naruto series. Don't worry, more what ifs on Issei and Great Red will be returning as well, and I will be continuing them. I really do appreciate everybody, as I said once before. Okay, if you guys want to know when I upload, as I said, all you have to do is click the little blue button. So thank you for all your support, and if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Without further ado, Spartanic out.